right. Hello, everyone. My name is Kim Granata Clark. Welcome to my Ergonomics and You podcast, talking about all things ergonomics and business. I'm an ergonomics specialist, and my company is Ergonomics and You. I am your posture tutor. I provide ergonomic evaluations in your home or corporate office. I look at different aspects of your workstation, such as your keyboard, your mouse, your monitor, your chair, and I do these evaluations virtually and in person. This is my first podcast, and I'm honored to have Christi Slaven, a posture therapist and a graduate from USF in public health. She's your professor posture. She was recommended to me from a networking group that I attended in Temple Terrace Women's Networking Woman. Thank you, Joni West, for the recommendation. We both teach posture, but we do it in different ways. I provide ergonomic evaluations, and Christy has a studio where she provides classes showing stretches you can do to reduce discomfort. So thank you, Christy, for coming on my first podcast.
Absolutely. So excited to be here.
So tell me a little bit about yourself personally. Are you a Tampa native?
I am actually born and raised. So is my husband. We live in kind of the New Tampa area. We've been married for 35 years, have three beautiful daughters. We currently have dogs because our children are grown, married, out of the house. Each of them has a child of their own. So it's a busy life here in Tampa, but it's great. I have my business is my passion. It's what I really feel like I was born to do.
Love it. That's so good. And how many years ago did you start your business?
My I've been in posture therapy for about 13 years, 12 and a half, 13
Mhm.
years in total, but I only started my business about 2.5 years ago.
Nice, nice. And you have a background, I wanted to say yoga teacher or Pilates, but it's not. Which one?
No. Well, medical exercise science was the original degree, then went back for a secondary degree in public health. I am a NASM certified personal trainer. I still hold a Les Mills, Johnny G spin certification. I hold some Les Mills aerobics certifications. I kept a few of those, and I still keep them up because they're always fun to pop in and teach a class here and there for some old friends.
Love it. You are busy, busy. Good for you. I love it. So tell me about your business. How are you different than physical therapists? What is posture therapy?
Okay, so it's actually a couple of different questions. How is posture therapy different from physical therapy? Unfortunately, in the medical climate that we are in today, if your doctor writes a note, a prescription for you because you have left knee pain, the only thing your physical therapist is allowed to work on is your left knee and the muscles that surround it. Well, let's say that left knee is under pressure because your hips aren't level. Let's say that right hip is elevated, is being yanked up by, again, let's just say your psoas muscle is yanking that right hip up, which makes your left hip and left knee consequently lower down. It hits the ground first. It hits the ground a little harder. And if you also have a lack of plantar and dorsiflexion in the ankle, which is the ability to roll through the foot, which most people don't have that as efficiently as they should, that will send all of the pressure, all the compression directly into the knee. And that poor little joint is being overworked already. The last thing we need to do is work it more. We actually need to get those muscles to relax and calm down while we need to level out the hips and retrain the muscles on the right hand side of the body, the front muscles of the leg, the back muscles of the legs, all of those internal and external stabilizing muscles, the inside and the outside stabilizing muscles. We need to teach them to do the jobs they were designed to do and not just kind of, stare off into space while the left side is like growing with all of its might. It's doing like 80-90% of the work. So that's kind of the difference. I get to look at the entire structure and figure out what the real root cause of that left knee pain is. I don't just work on the left knee. As a matter of fact, I try to get you to forget about the left knee. It's going to do the work anyway because it's been doing it all. I try to get you to focus more on the side that feels fine, because the reason it feels fine is because it's not doing any of the work. Mm. And your follow-up question was sorry, I got on a little tangent there. Your follow-up question was, what is posture therapy? So posture therapy wakes up muscles that have been basically non-functional. We retrain them to do what they were designed to do while teaching the muscles that have been overworking to calm down, to relax. It can take a little bit of time because, again, we're creating new habits, or maybe we're reawakening long forgotten habits, depending on your body. So what that's going to entail is a series of exercises, and they're personalized. It can be done in a group setting. Absolutely can. And I do a couple of times a week teach a group posture class. But more often than not, it needs to be a little more personalized than that, because I can have a baseball player and a ballet dancer who both have an elevated hip and an opposite elevated shoulder. So their right hip is elevated, but their left shoulder is elevated. I can have that in both of those individuals who engage in both of those activities, but they need different exercises because their compensation movement patterns, so the movement patterns they've created to make up for the fact that they've got one hip high and then the opposite shoulder high, the movement patterns they've created based on the sport or the activity that they engage in are completely different.
That is amazing. I didn't really think about that, but you do have to individualize, because what works for one person doesn't work for another person. Just like the field of ergonomics itself.
Exactly.
What I recommend to you for while working on your computer might not be what I recommend for someone else. And product wise, at different heights, you might be 5 foot and someone else is 6 foot, and we need different work surface heights, and we need different monitor heights. So.
Right.
Same thing with posture therapy. That is great. And so you were going to talk about desk jockeys versus athletes, and how they're different.
Obviously, there's a difference. In the desk jockey, you've got a lot of muscles that are underworking. You've got many muscles that are asleep. But when you get up out of that chair, even if it's just to walk to the coffee pot, you still have to use muscles to get there. You can't just rely on the bones. But the muscles that you wake up and actually use they aren't your primary movers. A lot of times they are muscles that were only just meant to assist, because your big primary movers, they're not awake, they're not participating. They're stuck in a contraction, whether it's eccentric, which means kind of an elongated contraction, or a concentric contraction, which is more of a tightening contraction. They're stuck like that. They aren't in neutral, and they can't help you get up off of a chair. So, for example, most of our society, when they get up out of a chair, they should be able to go straight up, just like that. More often than not, they have to bow and use their shoulders and their head to get them up out of the chair. And it doesn't matter what your age is. I've seen 16-year-olds do it. I've seen 69-year-olds do it. So that's what I mean by we have to wake up the sleepy muscles, the quads, which are the front muscles of the legs, the hamstrings, which are the back muscles of the legs, the glute muscles, the back muscles of your upper, mid, and low back. They should all be able to propel you straight up out of that chair, rather than you having to bow and then come up. So we have to reawaken all of those muscles. And creating those new habits can take a little while. depending on how diligent you are doing your exercises.
That is so true. That's so true. And I'm one of those people that lean forward as I get out of the chair. No wonder maybe my knees are starting to bother me. I need to make those changes. I talked with you before. I was having some knee issues and, walking up and down the stairs. And you said, okay, when you walk, you need to, stand up when you're walking up the stairs and put your feet on the steps. And I've been practicing that. And my knee
Good.
pain is getting a little bit better. So that's always a good thing. But I always have to remind myself because I didn't realize I was doing
Hmm.
that. I didn't realize I was kind of leaning forward as I walked up the stairs. So I'm trying mental note of how to change that. Um, let's see. Um, okay. Um, anything else? Anything else you want to go discuss?
If we wanted to, we can briefly dive into a little, hang on one second. Should go. All right. No, I should have had you turn can I share the screen for just a moment?
Yes, yes, definitely. Sorry, you don't need to see my screen. Wrong one.
There we go. Okay. So this is just a quick little who looks pain-free. Can you see the pictures yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Zoom's been taking a moment to do screen share lately, and I'm not really sure why. There we go.
There it
Hang
goes.
on. All right. These are the typical postures I see, the 2A people. We're more looking for the B postures in both of those pictures.
We're looking at how poor posture can cause pain. Do you want, are
Hmm,
you starting at number two
interesting.
slide? We're looking at number four slide.
Okay, that's odd. Well, we'll start there then. I'm not sure why. Technical issues. All
No, no
right.
problem.
Poor posture can cause pain, low confidence, poor focus. How can all of these things just be caused by poor posture? Poor posture is actually the beginning, the root cause of a lot of chronic pain. Not all chronic pain, but a lot, including arthritis. When muscles aren't supporting each other or aren't supporting your bony structure and each other, the bones they sit on each other and grind rather than gliding over top of each other. And that's what causes pain when the muscles are not supporting your bones. That's their primary job, and telling them where to go and what to do, because bones don't do anything by themselves. Muscles tell bones what to do. So vertical loading is what I was referencing back in the first slide that you couldn't see, but it's a straight line from your ear to your ankle. You should line up so that your ear, your shoulder, your hip, your knee, and your ankle are in a straight line up and down. Most people in today's society, their heads are forward, their shoulders are rounded, their upper backs are curved, their hips are either forward or behind the line. So we have to get that vertical loading back in play. Dynamic tension is where the front and the back of the body, and this is programmed in our DNA. This is in our lizard brain. It means that the front and the back of the body must do equal but opposite work. And it's just a really fancy way of saying if you contract your bicep, which is the front muscle of the arm, by doing something as simple as bringing your cup of coffee up to take a sip, your bicep, the front muscle of your arm is going to tighten, it's going to shorten. And then the back muscle of the arm, the tricep, has to elongate the exact same amount. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. So when the muscles are actually the boss, but those two things don't happen anymore, when the bicep tightens, the tricep doesn't elongate, or vice versa, because they're stuck, then we end up with chronic pain. Because then you end up using the joint. So that's actually how crazy things like tennis elbow can come into play. When your shoulder and the bicep and the tricep aren't doing their jobs, let's say you play tennis, you aren't swinging from here, you aren't rotating the torso, you're using that elbow to make it happen. And then those ligaments and tendons get stressed and you end up with tendonitis, tennis elbow, all of that fun stuff. That's just a little example. Breathing is another huge part of how we can reduce a lot of chronic pain. We can calm that lizard brain down. And most people don't realize that just 5 minutes of really good, deep, like belly breathing, not chest breathing, not shoulder breathing, but belly breathing can reset a lot of the a lot of the nervous system and allow us to work more efficiently. Now, as far as poor focus, so we have a huge bundle of nerves right here at the base of the skull, top of the spine, top of the neck portion of the spine. So if we have a forward head like this, there's a lot of compression right there at that nerve bundle. So it blocks the flow of thoughts, to your body and to your brain, so that you can get brain fog. I mean, a lot of other things like, inflammation from poor food choices can also cause brain fog, but a forward head or text neck can cause it as well. So this picture, can you see the next picture with the, no, it didn't switch.
No,
Okay.
it's funny because it says you're on slideshow, but all we see is your slides on the left-hand side and the slide that you were just speaking about.
Okay.
So it's like
That's
stuck or
interesting.
something.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Do you want to go out and come back
Yeah.
in
Let's
or
let's try. There was only one more slide I wanted to. I wanted to
oh,
show you the
okay.
vertical loading.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
as well, it's just
There you go.
there.
You could, yeah.
So
Original
it gives
design
you.
versus now.
Yep.
Okay.
So what we have in the left-hand picture is the original design. That's the vertical loading that we were talking about, that straight line from your ear to your ankle. That's how we should exist. This picture on the right-hand side, that's how most of us do exist these days. And this is what I help. And muscles only learn what we teach them, and they can actually get stuck in a movement pattern. So it doesn't matter if you're sitting, it doesn't matter if you're standing, it doesn't matter if you're laying down. If this is how you sit, this is how you stand. Really and truly, this is how you lay down. That's why people are needing I don't know if you've noticed, but the headrests in cars keep getting further and further forward because people's heads keep getting further and further forward. People's pillows keep getting bigger and bigger because this is how they sit, this is how they stand, this is how they lay down. And the upper back muscles and the neck muscles aren't just going to relax flat on the mattress. They're going to need something to support them, which is typically a larger and larger pillow. Wow. Sorry, I know I went on and on and on, but it's like I said, it's my passion. I could go on for days. I'm a body nerd. What can I say?
No, that's all great information, things that we just don't take into account. That's true. The headrests always seem to come forward. Every time I'm in cars, I'm always trying to push the headrest back because it just feels like
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
especially when you're driving, you don't want to be driving like this all the time. And pillows, get thicker and thicker. I didn't think about that. I mean, that's really, really interesting. So yeah, you can keep talking. I mean, I love to hear about it too. I don't know about the viewers, but it works. So that is amazing. So how can we reach you? Could we set up an appointment to come to your studio? How can we
Absolutely.
reach you?
I do 45-minute assessments where we take posture photos. So this grid that's behind me, put you near that, and we take a picture of your front, both sides, and the back. We do a little an analysis of those. We also do some functional tests, which is just some basic movements, and I record you doing those. from there, what we do is, again, we analyze them, we figure out what muscles you have that are overworking, what muscles you have that are underworking, and we then create a plan together, you, me, and your body. We create a plan, a strategic exercise routine of specific exercises that will help unwind the tight muscles and wake up the sleepy ones.
Nice, nice. Very good. Very good.
Phone
Um,
calls or texts
yeah.
are great. You can reach out to me on social media. Facebook and Instagram are Professor Posture for You. Same thing on LinkedIn is Professor Posture. Trying to think. Um, there's a there's one more.
YouTube, but you're still working on
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yep.
Okay. All right. And we'll put all that information, I'll put the information in the description. So,
Cool.
yay. We have one person online right now. Seraphine, did you have any questions for Christy? Seraphine's a fellow ergonomist and she is
Oh,
in
cool.
California. She's in Oregon, not California. So she might be just listening in. So I'm not sure. So, all right. So it sounds like she's just listening in.
Sorry,
So
I couldn't unmute myself. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah. Or we can.
Oh, okay. Yes, I was really fascinated to learn about, the sleeping posture that your sitting posture affects your standing posture, affects your sleeping posture. That was new information for me, and I appreciate learning that. And I have been very upset with the car companies making those forward
Uh-huh.
head positioning cushions, and I'm like, this isn't going to work for me. It's kind of
Right?
scary for me to think about buying a new car.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons, because I'm like, can I take the headrest on my current car with me, please?
And
Hmm.
just trade them out.
Just trade them out. And again, car companies should give people options. They shouldn't just say, okay, here's the headrest, use it. It's like, no, this isn't going to fit my head. Give me
Yeah.
options, people. So anyway,
Luckily, I'm short enough that I can push mine to the very highest. And in a wreck, it would still, get the very top of my head, but I don't have to deal with it all down here because I'm vertically challenged, as some would say.
well, I have the opposite problem. Everything is too
A
small
lot
for
of people
me.
do. Yeah.
I'm almost 6 feet tall, so I have the
Yeah.
opposite problem. And that neck support is supposed to hit at the base of the occipital bone, so
Yep,
that
it
when you're in a
is.
crash, you're not going to get whiplash. So
Mm-hmm.
again, they're just not designing them for neutral posture, which is
They are
very
not.
annoying. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course.
It's what was I going to say about that? But how many people do actually adjust their headrest when they get in the car? Probably not too many people. They either have it too low or too high, and they don't exactly have it set up. So it's just like, how many people adjust their chair when they get in their chair? Not many people adjust
Mhm.
it. They just sit in it and they live with it, and then they're like, oh, I'm having some pain and discomfort, and not really know how many different levers they have on their chair that they can adjust.
Adjustments. Right.
Hmm. So, but all the headrest has is up and down. That's about it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe forward and back. Yeah, you just have to play
Some
with it.
some some vehicles do, not all. Not all of them do, which
Hmm.
is too bad.
It is. It is too bad. So, well, thank you so much for coming on. I really
Of
appreciate
course.
it. I'm recording this, so I am going to send it out if anybody has missed it. And any further comments, any further thoughts?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming. And Seraphine, thank you for joining in. And we'll talk to everyone later. Stay tuned. The last Tuesday of the month is my next podcast. I did not look at the calendar ahead of time, so it is the last Tuesday of April. So we will talk to you all later. Bye, everyone.